Lucas's proposal. Ike went with him to the public bath. Originally, it was intended for military use only. As the size of the city continues to expand, it has become a space that can be used by ordinary people. But when Aishi saw the moment of the public bath, still a little amazed at the scale of the place, because it's just too big here. After the two walked up the steps, only to find that AI sure was still standing motionless. They were a little curious. What's wrong with the usual unfazed obstacles? Places like public baths. There will probably be an event with female characters. It's a pity, though. Those who travel through the play. The treatment of the protagonist never seems to have happened to Ehrlich. The facilities here are very well repaired. Not at all like the remote cities of the southern region, because there have been too many floods before. Therefore, efforts have been made to use water resources. This aspect of Crossroad is second to none in the world. Then this. I'd like to ask you if you don't like it. Anytime, anywhere, and all shall guard by the side of the Lord. That's what it takes to be a guard. Even if it's a nice word, it's annoying to listen to it for a long time. Don't stand. Wash yourself, too. Then I'll take a bath next to you. In fact, Ace felt it in the morning, but I only found out after watching it up close. Lucas's body was covered in wounds, and they're like summing up the pain this guy has suffered in this life. Lucas, you suffered. You're serious. The Sovereign is different from the two. Damien was lying in the bath floating in the water. Damien, are you feeling better? Of course, His Royal Highness. I'm fine now. What the hell happened yesterday? It's better not to mention yesterday's events. It was at this time. Suddenly, the crowd poured into the public bath. They are the men of the Twilight Corps. Old guys, let's take a shower and go. See these unruly old men. The spirit that got in the way was a little trance. He had planned to sneak away with Lucas and Damien. Unexpectedly, it was discovered by the people of the Twilight Corps. It was the first time that Elsie had felt shy about the soldier's salute. Ashaf felt compelled to tell them, don't bow to yourself in public baths anymore, until you come to the restroom of the public bath. Ash felt like he was finally alive. But Ash didn't expect to be in such a world. There are such advanced facilities. He felt that he might be taking the fantasy world too lightly. It was at this time, a class of Jalen pushed Lily over. It's a senior. How did you end up here? I grew up here. Naturally, there are also frequent visitors to public baths. Your Highness, why are you here? I should ask you that. Did you two come together? I came to take a bath with Sister Lily. When did you get so close? Are already people who have experienced life and death together. Of course, it's a good relationship. But in AI Sure's eyes, this is clearly a group of gelling unilaterally in the set. However, there are girls in the team who are about the same age as a group of Jalen. And only Lily. So Ash is actually understandable. Naturally, Elsie could understand the reason for Lily's reluctance. Because Lily wanted to leave the team. And Evangeline is the heir to the throne of the border country. We're going to go first. Senior, we're going to talk about some topics among girls. Don't wait for AI Sure to speak. A group of Jays pushed Lily and fled as quickly as possible. What a surprise. I didn't expect the royal family to come to this kind of place. You are an Ayamala Harita Ace. Only then did I know that the woman in front of me was a saint. Maybe it's because I've only seen her wear priestly clothes all day. So Ash didn't recognize her at first sight. Will the saint also come to the public bath? Is there a rule that says that priests are not allowed to bathe? I didn't mean that. Because I had a major surgery yesterday. So I want to wash myself clean. Did the surgery go well? Your Highness, yesterday was not during the banquet. Several of them were sent to inquire about the operation. Ash was a little embarrassed. He had no memory of yesterday's events at all. The surgery went well. She is recovering smoothly. I came to the bathhouse after I had done a healing spell on him in the morning. I just didn't expect so many people, because there was a whole night of banquets. So it's normal to have a lot of people today. You must have had a hard time doing the surgery. I'm so sorry. My soldiers have prevented the Holy Maiden from resting. Not really, although war is an extremely cruel thing. But I think the battle here is sacred, because we're guarding humanity. It is also valuable to wash away the blood and sweat stained by jihad. If you can get involved. This is also a happy thing, of course. This is a conformity for priesthood, and the answer full of human touch. I had to go with the other priests. I went first. You have a good rest. His Royal Highness is also a little different from what AI sure thinks. It turns out that everyone who lives here is kind and ordinary people. After coming to his senses, Ace discovers that Lucas and Damien have not returned, because it is in a similar environment to a steam room. Ace suddenly misses sweet rice stew and baked eggs. Whenever this happens, Ace will miss his old life very much. That's just at this time. Lucas and Damien are finally back. What are you doing? Why did you come so late? We didn't do anything bad. This is a boiled egg. We bought it from a black merchant at a public bath. Although I don't know what a black merchant is. But Este is happy to see these things. Your Highness, you see that there is this. This is cool honey water. You seem to have brought something good. It is said that we should share in happiness. That's the kind of good stuff. Shouldn't we give a bite to the main team's gang of 5? The 5 of them fought for the first time in a long time. Lucas, on the other hand, took the opportunity to stuff eggs into his mouth frantically. After a bit of slapstick, the mood of several people was obviously much better. Lucas seemed to be a little busy, though. I'll leave the finishing touches to me. I'll take care of it. Then please. After Lucas finished his leisure time, Ace opened the status window. Start preparing for the next defensive battle. Next up is Scenario 5. This is one of the hardest scenes in the first half of the game. Scenes in multiples of 5. Known as a boss scenario in this game. It can be said that those previous scenes are incomparable to the existence at all. Therefore, this game gives players plenty of time to prepare. You have to be prepared for anything in the way. As long as you can successfully conquer this scene, then it's going to be a lot easier. See you here. Your Highness. Who are you? I'm Dion. Dion Egut heard the name. I just remembered when it got in the way. The boy in front of him is one of the N-rank heroes he introduced. N-tier heroes are a bit stronger than the average soldier, but most of them are more frequent. So Ashdek used to play the game when it was done. It's hard to remember every character. Strictly speaking, Dion's squad actually predates the Shadow Troops. Became Ace's substitute team. But because of the strength, it does not come in handy. Dion, do you have anything to do with me? Your Highness, I have an opinion. The 5 of us have been running in for almost a month. But except for the rear end of the defensive front, you did not give us any orders. The monsters hadn't even been to that place. But Your Highness, we are mercenaries. It is a profession that survives by meritorious service. Dion, though arrogant, but it's very unscrupulous. He was pitching his ideas as a mercenary. I don't care. You think we're young. If you are inexperienced, you will underestimate us. But I don't like that I haven't had decent experience. It is in this state of stalking. Please let us go to the front line and fight. We will also do our best to prove our worth to you. Look at the look of this group of little guys. A smile appeared at the corner of the obstructive mouth. What lord would hate a soldier who takes the initiative to ask for battle? Even if the stats are mediocre, the skills are also very average. But there was a ruthlessness in the eyes of the Dion team, especially Dion, who is the captain. It can be seen that he is a very ambitious guy. You are so presumptuous to ask me to fight. Looks confident. How do you show it? I request a cue. Let's take a game against His Highness's guards. That should be enough proof of charity. Apparently did not expect Dion to propose such a way. It's really arrogant. It's sure to be fun. When do we compare? I like your attitude of taking on a positive challenge. However, I can decide where and when to practice. Of course, His Highness didn't need to wait long when he thought. Right now, it will be conducted at the nearest venue. Recruits compete against the Lord's Guard. The news soon spread in Crossroad. Everyone wants to grab a good spot. Take a look at this competition. It's okay if we don't help. I think it's better for them to fight. You ready? Miss, I still want to ask you. The uncle is different from the two. The Dion team was seriously discussing the next battle plan. Soon they entered the competition venue under the leadership of Dion. It looks like everyone is ready. I don't know what kind of battle plan you have in place, but I'll solve it in one blow. Your sister will try not to hurt you. The conditions for winning are simple. Just subdue the other side completely, such as not being able to use weapons or being knocked out of the circle and surrendering. It can be judged that the opponent has been subdued. Uphold the principle of safety first. Attacks that could cause serious injury are prohibited in this contest. Or skills. The moment the competition begins, Dion rushed to Lucas alone, and the remaining four chose to besiege a group of Jialing knights. Please let me see. I've only heard of the prowess of rumors. Please rest assured, even if it's just a wooden sword, I won't show mercy to my knights. Turns out to dodge your attacks. It's not as difficult as you think. Less bluffing here. I'll beat you. Then Lucas. A class of Jalen's side is particularly relaxed. You're very discerning. Sure enough, it seems to you. I'm 4 times more dangerous than that uncle. Then I'll show you. Why am I the 375th issue of the college? Let's be a first-class student who will graduate early. But the first class of Jalen hadn't finished speaking. The 3 knights of Dion's squad raised their shields and crashed into them. It's just moving forward together now. It turned out that they had planned to squeeze a group of knots out of the circle from the beginning. Wait, no. I've said it all. No. Hessa could not have imagined. Generally, Jalen's strength is actually greater than the 3 of them combined. It was at this time, Acela from Dion's squad makes a move. I'm really sorry. Miss, we need this victory. A band Jalen subconsciously dodged Esla's attack. Can lose the center of gravity. As soon as Jalen was powerless, he was no longer able to resist the advance of the 3 of them. Team Dion's plan succeeded. A class of Jalen was pushed out of the circle and eliminated. Wait a minute, you guys are fouled. Isn't that a foul? Of course not. You're out of the loop. Judged to be subdued. Although it is 2 against 5. But the difference between the 2 teams is worlds apart. And the Dion team gathered the attention of the personnel in an instant. And the tactics of raiding out of the circle. This disadvantage was overcome. In AI Sure's opinion, this is indeed a good battle plan. And they're doing it well too. Let's go and support Dion now. Just subdue the knight. Ezra wasn't done yet. I saw Dion, who was held in Lucas's hand. I'm so sorry. Buddies, this Knight Sama is too powerful. Tell me which of you is next. As Lucas approached step by step, Team Dion is feeling the pressure like never before. The final result was exactly as Ace had expected. In the end, it is the members of the main team who win. Although the existence of a power gap is one of the reasons, but mainly because the level gap between the 2 sides is very large. Lucas' rating is 37, and the Dion squad is only level 16 at the highest. This duel was actually untenable from the beginning, although I had long expected the result. But I didn't expect that we were not opponents at all. That's right. That's right. But you've done a good job. A tactical plan developed against the opponent, and the decisiveness to put it into practice. The most commendable thing is, even in the face of enemies stronger than yourself, neither will you flinch, and the kind of will that is capable of attacking. This is the first character that a warrior must have to deal with monsters. I want to defeat the strong with the weak. When you face an enemy that is stronger than yourself, no flinching. Fight bravely. It's also an excellent talent. Rise up, everybody. I would like to apologize to all of you. I'm so sorry. I have been despising and not appointing you properly. And then I have to apologize to you beforehand, because you've proven yourself to be useful. So from now on, I'm going to make the most of you, although there was no expectation at all. But these were originally free-range personnel. In this way, it unexpectedly became the combat power in the hands of AI. Sure. Your Highness, that's exactly what we're looking for. Both in the game and here. They were both the weakest teams in the combinations Elsie had ever used. If we want to hide in a corner and survive, I won't be a mercenary from the beginning. That's it. The Dion Mercenary Regiment was requisitioned as the first army formation. So in the afternoon of the next day, they were mobilized. Automatic coin farming system. This system is called autonomous probing. You can send a substitute team to an area that has already been cleared. The substitute team will be promoted independently, and according to a certain probability to recover the props. Players often refer to it as quartermaster, because this is the first time they have entered the dungeon. AIs also intimately sent a class of gelling. Walk with them as a guide. He also intends to tackle the emptiness of the scene in the future. Careful deployment of military quarters. Is it really okay for you to do this, my lord? Aren't there still enemies in the dungeons of the lake? Elsie knew that Lucas's enemies weren't meant by monsters. It's talking about the hostile NPC forces. The Nightkin is a troop led by the Crown. In case the team members meet those guys, I'm afraid I won't be able to return safely. I'll go along with it. You don't have to worry about that. Those guys won't come to the area in front of the base camp. Why? It turned out that Ace had asked died at the time, and Eid replied yes. Areas 1 to 3 of the Lake Kingdom dungeon. It is not possible to perform PvP mode. Originally, there was no such setting, but in the past, hostile forces always attacked at the beginning. That's why we use this rule as a newbie protector, because at that time, Jupiter had lost its main combat power. Elsie can't wait to kill this. The game director who speaks only half of every time. If you try to do PvP, will be punished direly. And all the NPCs in the Lake Kingdom know about it. In short, start with the 4th area. It's better to be careful. Those guys aren't going to get out of base camp anyway. I don't know why. Maybe we're afraid we'll take advantage of their absence. Reasonable. He is worthy of being a lord. You're very insightful. Aisha was a little speechless, but Lucas did believe the reason he had made up casually. In fact, I felt it from the last time. Lucas has discovered something. I don't know why. He still chooses to think of himself as AI sure. It was at this time. Damien hurried in. Damien, didn't I give you a good rest for a few days? Find me something. Just look at the appearance of Damien. The little one must be exhausted. Then the pig Pete Ching regained consciousness. Jupiter, the only wide area mage on the team, after missing a scene, finally woke up. At the same time, at the north gate of Crossrod, a mysterious woman with a cigarette stick in her hand appears. However, the smoke wafting from the cigarette stick has a faint pink tinge. This is Crossrod. This is the front line where Grandma is currently working. Pig Pete woke up. Ehrlich rushed to the ward as soon as he heard the news. It's been a long time. Your Highness, how long have I been asleep? Almost 10 days. Pig Pete, you look fine. It's just wonderful. How about the body? Although I would like to say very good. But to be honest, it's not in good shape. About half of the mana circuits were burned, although it is currently in a state of slow recovery. Can it still be cured? Okay. It's just going to take some time. And even if it's restored, it's also uncertain if it will be able to achieve the previous output. It turned out to be like this because of resisting a few spells. I'm still old. Eat on time. Rest well. Get well as soon as possible. The Lightning Mage is missing from the team. We suffered a lot in the last defensive battle. Before the next defensive battle, you got to get better. Needless to say. After all, can't you earn another week's salary? What's more, I can't retire at the moment, because there's a lot of stuff waiting for me to do. Are you going to make some more money? And then build a city? How do you know my old man's mind? You're right. As he spoke, Jupiter looked out the window. Into a city. That's a good idea. Cities are not necessarily built, but I'll be in Crossrod after a while. Build a premium hotel. When the time comes you move in, I'll count you cheap. After all, it's my direct team. This benefit can still be given. Then I gladly accepted. And so it goes. Am I going to be the number one tenant? Tenant number one is, of course, me. But I can make you number two. Panoramic views of the city from the hotel suites. Drink a glass of whiskey. Order another cigar. For mercenaries, what could be a more luxurious life? Although they have nothing in their hands. The hotel has not yet started. Suites also do not exist. But the two still chatted happily. Maybe by this mirage-like dream. Survive every day strongly. This is how the humans of this land live. In short, there is still a long way to go before the next defensive battle. You just have to rest. Just concentrate on recovery. But Your Highness, you come to visit the patient, but you didn't bring a gift? This is Pigpit, a mercenary who is obsessed with money. For the temple came. Therefore, love things also go to visit by the way. Forget the hand of God. And he did not leave the temple until he had seen the holy maiden Malhalata. Malhalata said, Pigpit's internal injuries were very severe. It is impossible to recover within 4 weeks. So Jupiter is in his current state. It's tantamount to being judged to be the early stage of quitting the game. Just work hard to recover. In future scenes, there are also ways to put him in handy. But for now, it seems, not only was he unable to participate in the most difficult scene dance at this stage, I had to quit the base camp. Recapture plan. So for the current situation, Ace decides to hire a new partner with Lucas. Once again, they came to the mercenary union. Elsie prays for a new recruit who will come in handy. Now Elsie can only leave everything to her own luck. As soon as I entered the door, Ash saw a burst of dazzling golden light. This represents the emergence of SSR-class characters. At this moment, AI sure can no longer care about any decency. First impressions don't matter at all. He ran to the man like crazy. Are you a mercenary? I'm sorry, sir. I'm not a mercenary. This person is the woman who just entered the city yesterday. Not a mercenary. Why did you go to the mercenary union? I'm looking for someone. I heard that my grandma lives here. So I came to her. But I didn't even see a single figure. Mention the grandmother who lives in the mercenary union, Aishi. Only one person can come to mind. Your grandmother's surname is Jupit. My grandmother's surname is Junior. Master Jupiter can call me Pig Ace. Somewhat curious, the Juniel in front of him is a character he has never seen before in the game. But his rank is as high as SS2. And Junior really seems to be Jupiter's granddaughter. Even the goldenrod has been passed down. What's more, Junior's profession turned out to be an elementalmancer. This is a type of mage that can manipulate all attribute magic. Although each attribute can manipulate the level, it varies depending on the role. However, the elemental warlock is still the highest ranking class among mages. Jupiter barely told me anything about you, did he? My grandmother didn't talk about me. But Jupiter actually mentions it. But without exception, it is a simple brushstroke. It's so sad. She has such a lovely granddaughter. You shouldn't be showing off, right? At first glance, you can tell that it is noble. Who are you? You asked my name. Can I also ask for the adult's first name? Of course, my name is Ash Eshgang Hut Eberborough. He is currently serving as the commander of the monster front here. Sorry, I didn't recognize your royal highness. Because I didn't expect to meet you in this kind of place at all. That's why I salute his highness now. I hope you will forgive me for being an ignorant girl. You're serious. It's a matter of course that you don't recognize it. Lift your head up. Junior. Jupiter. I'll get straight to the point. Do you want to join me? There is a desperate need for talented magicians like you here on the front lines. Now that you're here, just give your part. Of course, I promise to provide you with the highest treatment. It's a magician on any front line on the continent. All you get is good top treatment. Thank you for your kindness. But I came to this city to meet my grandmother. By the way, you're here to meet Pete. So wait until I meet my grandma. Consider your highness's proposal again. May I? Of course. Just do as you say. Then, Your Highness, do you know where my grandma is? Jupiter is currently being treated at the temple. She was injured not long ago. It turned out to be in the temple. I know. Thank you. It's okay, it's okay. Let's go see your grandmother. Consider my proposal. Yes, Your Highness. Then I'll quit first, until after Juniel is gone. Lucas only began to speak. It's amazing. Pigpit's granddaughter. She and Jupiter Ching don't look like each other at all. But the two are very similar. The two are completely different in appearance. But they all have the same temperament. They all have a kind of money flavor with them. One more point. I think it's an amazing place. Although it is a bit rude. But Pigpiter really has a child. That's shocking. To be honest, I was also taken aback. Earlier, he said he was going to introduce his granddaughter to me. I thought he was joking with me. Although it's not good to gossip behind people's backs. But no matter how you look at it, Pigpite Green gives me the feeling that I have been single all my life. But I didn't expect her to have a child. I even met her granddaughter today. True. It was a surprise. What kind of person do you say her husband is? I'm also curious. It's privacy, though, so it doesn't seem good to ask her. In short, I hope Jupiter can have a good chat with his granddaughter. Meanwhile, in this temple full of light, Jupiter felt a darkness he had never felt before. It's finally coming to an end. Jupiter already felt it. His career as a soldier and mercenary, as well as a magician. It's coming to an end. He suddenly discovered. It turned out that he missed the opportunity to retire a long time ago, in order to be able to work for a few more days. Pigpit had struggled desperately regardless of his image, in order to be able to earn an extra penny. He has tried all types of work. He also experienced resignation from the Legion blame, which he had worked all his life. He was abandoned by the mercenary group that poached him. In this way, he was driven away again and again, live a life of wandering. Never stayed on any front for more than 3 months. Think about it this way. There is nothing in this world that is worthy of Jupiter's nostalgia. But those days are coming to an end. There was a tingling pain in Pigpit's left eye. He was a little curious. Can I really rest? Do you really have this qualification? It was at this time. The door was opened. Grandma, so you're here. I've been looking for you for a long time. The moment I saw Junior, Jupiter's face was full of panic. Junior, how did you end up here? Because I haven't been able to contact you. So I found it myself. I didn't even know you were in this barren southern place. It's been so long. I saw how my granddaughter showed that expression. It's like seeing a bad thing. Really? Why do you sit there stiffly? Can I still eat you? Pig Pete. In fact, often because of the feeling. The little guy who has inherited his name will eat himself. And I feel scared. Juniel held out her hand to the old man who was sick in bed. Granny Money, you really are? What can I come all the way for? Obviously, with a smiling face. Give me the money. Granny Money. Junior traveled all the way to Crossrod. But it was to ask Jupit, who was sick in bed, for money. Is that all there is to it? We have a lot of mouthfuls. I'm so sorry, kid, because I was hurt. He has been in a coma for several days. Isn't there any windfall on this front? Windfall? I asked Grandma. Is there anything like you did in the Imperial military? A windfall caught behind the scenes. Grandma, you're good at finding that kind of money. Didn't you secretly swallow something? Do not think that this is the front line of border defense. Just despise this place. The situation is tense. And there are many people. There simply aren't that many chances. The most terrifying thing is the 3 princes who are the commanders. His actual appearance is completely different from his reputation in the capital. It's not just about being well-informed. He's like he's got some kind of foreknowledge, isn't he? It's the first time I've heard Grandma. Such a high opinion of a commander. That guy seems to have a lot of secrets that no one knows. Rather than suffering by being caught playing tricks, it would be more advantageous to earn an annual salary honestly. After all, he was paid a high salary. There's no way around it. Then I'll have to work here for a while. I have already met His Royal Highness. He personally asked me if I had any ideas for working here. No, not that way. Junior, didn't you promise me not to use magic again? Do you just remember to care about me now? Isn't it a little too late? As she spoke, Juniel ruffled her hair. The terrifying scars hidden within are revealed. Grandma, let's recuperate. You look badly hurt, don't you? Wait a minute, Junior. Let's talk about it again. Isn't Grandma all her life hard to earn money by doing dirty work? Now replace me. Junior came back to his senses at the door. Smile brightly. The door was slammed shut. Jupiter sat on the bed without saying a word. There was a tingling pain in his left eye. Jupiter remembered the fire again. All this is my own doing. All this is my retribution. Meanwhile, AI sure is rushing back to the mansion after a day's work. 8 hours have passed. Free exploration is also over. Under the leadership of a class of Jalen, the level of Dion's team has increased a bit. But at this time, AI saw a strange thing in the prop. He couldn't imagine that the legion he had to face in Scenario 5 turned out to be the Bloodline. The Bloods are the vampires and their entire forces. They also appear in the second half of the game, the highest level of the monster race. Ace doesn't know why they're in Scene 5. Could it be that this is another dark event at work? Your lord, are you all right? Is it an emergency? Has the headache recurred? I'm fine. Lucas, let's go back to the mansion. Aisha was curious if the opponent in the next round of defensive battles is really Bloodline. Is it really possible to win with the current team composition? In fact, AI sure is very clear. It's impossible. He must expand his forces at all costs. It was at this time I saw a junior walking on the side of the road. Lucas, stop quickly. You kneel Jupiter. You now only have 2 options. Or be forcibly requisitioned. Either voluntarily accept my employment. Tell me what your options are. The girl smiled like a fox. She glanced inside the carriage. Your Highness, can I sit next to you first? Of course. The carriage began to move forward again. The closer you get to the dust-shrouded mansion, AI sure can really feel it. Hell isn't just a hell to describe difficulty. Rather, the real hell is closing in on the monster front here. Meanwhile, a man playing the flute woke up the sleeping crown. He had just dreamed of Ash. Looks like I took a nap. The crown has no memory of the last time he fell asleep. He even gave up counting the fact that he was wearing this not ridiculous dress. The time spent playing the clown. The man playing the flute. There is also such a fable in the former Lake Kingdom. Legend has it that a certain village is infested with rats. The villagers hired bards in order to keep the rats away. The bard manipulated those rats by playing the flute. They jumped into the lake and drowned. But the villagers who were not willing to spend money. The bard was not paid as agreed. The bard was in a fit of rage. Blow the flute again, manipulating the skulls of children in the village. Ended his life. The crown tried to touch his tired face with his hand. But soon he discovers that he is wearing a funny mask on his face. This prophecy is all too accurate. The Legion commanders under the Crown Demon King have been summoned. There seems to be a meeting of the Imperial Council today. Imperial Council. The Crown's mouth twists under the mask. Would you like to participate this time? Of course. The Crown slowly stood up. After all, I'm the spokesperson of this Lake Kingdom. Although it has become a colony of demons. The Crown staggered out of the base camp, walked towards the heart of the Lake Kingdom. Members of the Nightkin reminded him, please be careful. If only something happened, that if you were not careful, you would die. It didn't take long. The Crown came to the heart of the Lake Kingdom. It was once the most prosperous and beautiful place in the Lake Kingdom. Now it was shrouded in wet darkness. The Crown calmly walked into the darkened palace. It's the clown. It's that shameless fool. The demons kept laughing at her. But the Crown doesn't care. Walked down the corridor for a while. A wide hall appeared in front of him. This is where the subjects met the king. Except for 2 empty seats. The rest of the seats are already full. You're late. The Crown is a lowly human being. Dare to be late for a meeting convened by the Demon King. Don't you humans have shame? The werewolf vented the anger in his heart. He looked down on this human from the bottom of his heart. The crown sat down in the last seat. I'm just a lowly human being. But you're just scum born out of a human nightmare. It's ridiculous. Forget it, you megalomaniacal guy. Isn't the crown a clown? A deep voice rang out from the throne. She's a clown, naturally exhibited mocking and witty. Satirize. Humorous and funny look. That's his job. And the crown isn't entirely wrong. You are indeed from the fragments of human nightmares that have been gathered. Refined. But let the humans here dream of immortality. And the people who help them achieve their dreams. It's me. You're right. The crowned Demon King's voice grew heavier and heavier. The crown felt an invisible force, pressing himself to death. Don't forget the crown. The humans of the Lake Kingdom are all domestic animals of our army. You need to be provided for nightmares outside. It is no different from cattle or pigs raised by humans. I can get such a domestic animal to attend the meeting. You have to be grateful all the time. Do you understand? After the Demon King finished speaking, the crown was almost entirely on the table. I understand. Surrender to the power of the Demon King, and not to shame the crown, compared to the great humiliation suffered in the long years of the past. This kind of trivial thing can no longer hit him. Okay, that's all for you. Everyone should know that. I'm calling you Legion commanders over today. It's because the flood is coming. So I need a Legion commander to lead an invasion of the people. Because it's still in its infancy. So it's up to the low-ranked werewolf group. Your Majesty, please let me go. The man who spoke was none other than the Nightmare Legion, the 5th-ranked inanimate king. Serendian, a vampire known as an undead zombie. You even took the initiative to ask for help. It was a surprise to me. Don't you hate to show your head? Because the humans on Earth killed Orop. So, I want revenge. Please also ask for your permission. Serendian is a pale-skinned, a teenage girl with dark blue hair. At this moment, she was staring at the Demon King on the throne with those blood-red pupils. Worn by Spider Queen Olop, he was the 6th-ranked powerhouse among the Legion commanders. It's ironic. He was killed by a mere cannon, and it happened during reconnaissance operations. His death is ridiculous, and suddenly even the king did not expect it. Those guys killed a herd of livestock in the Olop district. They're just a bunch of people who don't have a name. It's just a waste that has long since perished. Calm down, everybody. Anyway, Orlop will come back to life next time. Hear this? The crowd looked a little surprised. Of course, this is not a concept that you can understand. All in all, I am satisfied. What's more, it seems like it's going to be fun. Serendian, I give you permission to fight. Let's start attacking in 4 weeks, based on the time on the ground. Serendian stood up. Politely salute the Demon King. Obey the order, and the matter will be settled. Next is a nightmare for the entire kingdom. Supply and demand issues. But at this time, the demon guarding the door hurriedly ran in. Big things are not good. The nameless man broke in. Hearing this, the crown couldn't help but widen his eyes. Single-handedly. Yes, definitely. After all, this is his usual style. That's it for the meeting. It would be better to close the door of the palace today. But the devil wasn't done yet, and was cut in half. One by one, the Legion commanders stood up and were presumptuous. You, an irreverent person, have to come to the Jade Palace. Good evening. Monsters. Walking into the palace was a woman in a tattered robe. Silver-white hair dragged on the ground. You still getting tired of it? It's a pointless battle. Nameless, yes. After all, it's my job to get rid of you, no matter how you clean up. We'll accumulate dust again. No fuss. I have come to kill you. How long have you been using that sword? 100 years. 500 years or thousands of years. Because I forgot everything. So it's not clear. No matter how hard you try, none of them will save your kingdom. You're just wandering in this hell forever. The sword in nameless hands slowly radiated light. Then I'll fight desperately forever. If that's my mission, I'll do it. The atmosphere is getting tense. It was as if the two sides could clash at any moment. But the crown left his seat at this point. He rubbed shoulders with Nameless. But neither of them looked at each other. The Demon King, who saw this scene, burst out laughing. Is this the subservient and the rebellious? I like them all. Either of you will make for good nightmare fodder. That's just senseless resistance. The nightmare never ends. Even so, someone should also light the lights. A spark can start a prairie fire. Nameless aimed his sword at the monster in front of him. He thought of the darkness that was meant to illuminate the kingdom. And countless people have fallen. And Aishi, which is undergoing a new round of challenges. A group of people, because someone who came in with the light of the tree. New lights can be lit. Nameless raised his sword and rushed towards the monster in front of him. There have been countless duels in the hell beneath the Lake Kingdom. Now it's repeated. The crown calmly walked to the base camp. No one knew what the expression of the face under the mask was. Meanwhile, returned to the mansion of AIs, seeing that the Freedom Survey team has returned. All right, little ones, I already know that Jalen is doing really well. So what is the monster that appeared this time? Don't be frightened by what the seniors hear. Actually, it's the first time I've seen it. The monster that appears this time is a pack of ghouls. This moment, AI sure confirmed. How do you know that you are hiding your strength? Any magician. Not even my grandmother noticed that Junior's voice was shaking. For the first time, she felt the presence of Ash's terror system. Don't let anyone know what's in the way. A decent reason must be found. I have a strong instinct in that area. Reveal all your strengths. Junior, that's how I'll pay you accordingly. Don't you want to make more money? Ashkiss smiled and looked at Junior. But Juniel felt an invisible pressure. In the end, he disclosed all his abilities. Junior has actually reached level 35. Possessed two skills, Elemental Explosion and Elemental Fusion. But Ace always felt that Junior was hiding something. But until this happens, Junior didn't say it explicitly. Ash didn't want to ask anymore. The 4-week internship will be paid on a weekly basis. After the end of the internship period, the remaining 11 months' salary will be paid in a lump sum. I guess I understood it correctly. Your Highness is accurate. Until the last moment, Junior is trying to get an extra penny. It feels like the Jupit family seems to have an inexplicable attachment to money. In this way, the contract is all signed. I still have a question for you, though. Have you ever attacked someone with magic? What does this mean, Your Highness? I'm not trying to pursue your past, although this is the monster front. But this time the enemy to fight is humans. That's why I asked about love. It's the enemy they're about to face. It is the Crown Party who occupies the base camp. They have to fight humans in a PvP way. No, Your Highness, I didn't mean that. Isn't magic generally used to attack humans? Swords and guns, and bows and arrows. Weapons of humanity. Most of them are made to deal with their own kind. You asked me if I ever use magic to attack people. Of course, because magic and weapons serve the same purpose. Although the first mission on the monster front turned out to be to kill humans. It's kind of ironic, but let's be honest. I am confident that I will complete the task. Until this time, AI Shirkai suddenly realized this is not the world he once lived in. Rather, it is a complete succession of wars and deaths which are very different from the Earth. Another world of brutality, because there are so many deaths, and Damien's fearful eyes at the time. So love to give, even in such a world. Nor can anyone be willing to kill their own kind. But if it's really necessary, Aishi will definitely do it. It's not just for the humans who protect this world. It is also to clear the real ending. For their own desires. Even if you want to kill someone, that guy has to be conquered too. Make a way for yourself. Maybe killing isn't the first option, but if it's justified defense, there is no reason to hesitate. The time to come. Aishi introduces Junior to the Night King combat ability. You'd better be nervous. It was their magician who caused your grandmother to be seriously injured. That's so sad. If I had been there, it's definitely going to turn things around. Rest assured, Your Highness, I will definitely eradicate those guys for my grandmother's sake. Then I'll see. It's not because of the status of an SSR class mage. Rather, it is because Junior is Jupiter's granddaughter. So Aishi chose to believe. The next day, Aishi brought all the members with him except the Hand of God. Came to the Lake Kingdom. This is the third area that is carried out for multiple purposes. In the survey, one of the purposes was to test Junior's combat prowess. As an SSR class character, Junior's performance was perfect. He just waved the cigarette stick in his hand slightly. You can easily deal with the monsters in the dungeon. Ghouls who rush out along the northern part of the Lake Kingdom. And so it was turned into pieces in magic. What do you think? Is Your Highness qualified for this level of ability? Enough is enough. It is fully capable of magic attack with one finger, although the destructive power is slightly inferior to Jupiter. But Junior can adjust the attack range, and the attributes are also more diverse. The first purpose has been achieved, and the second purpose is to master the types of ghouls. Who is the boss of the next scene determines the characteristics of ghouls, and the only boss among vampires that has a frozen attribute. There was only Serendian, the king of vampires. Although the next scenario will be very difficult. But it's better to know this now than to have no intelligence at all. Your Highness, I have probably mastered the topography of this area. What do you think? Will you be able to follow my instructions? I think it's totally fine. Let's go back first. So far, the three purposes of this free survey have been achieved, because the base camp is not available yet, so they can only retreat back to the entrance of the third area. When walking back along the north wall, Ace suddenly looked down. The city square was shrouded in darkness, but Ace knew there was an alley there. I also know that the base camp is there. It's just that now it's being taken by the Nightkin troops, and the crown of the man who played the flute was occupied. However, Ashmi will soon retake the base camp. He will give back to those people all the hardships he has endured. The group slowly walked through the portal. A class of Jalen was still thinking about what he would eat when he returned. Junior, who was walking at the back of the line, suddenly stopped. He didn't go back with everyone. It seems to have been predicted. Juniel covered her mouth and began to cough wildly. When he took his hand away, a stain of bright red blood appeared in the palm of his hand. Junior looked silently at his left hand. Then he clenched his fists tightly. It's like nothing happened. Juniel walked through the portal. After the end of the free survey, another 5 days passed. Ash, and they came to the alchemist workshop. The mechanical arm of the Hand of God began to work. Makes a very smooth sound. It's amazing. So realistic. It's just like a real hand, compared to the prosthetic leg I used before. Lighter and more comfortable. Of course, in the magic metal that can be crafted in this factory. It's the most expensive. Thank you very much, Miss Lily. The cost of the prosthesis is not required. You saved my life. How can I still collect money? Originally, I felt that I owed you a favor and was reluctant to go. Without waiting for the Hand of God to answer, Lily pushed her wheelchair into the house. The door was closed. Ash suddenly felt that the two of them looked a little cute. While Ash was still thinking, the Hand of God came over. My body has recovered, so it's time to return to the team. Your Highness, in the last battle, the Hand of God lost its younger brother. Although AI sure would love to let him take a break. But time now does not allow for the shadow forces to be summoned. All the staff will arrive at the Lord's mansion at 9 o'clock tonight. We're going tonight, because it was a late-night battle, so you give the players a little rest during the day. Hand of God, after glancing at the direction of the alchemist's attack and defense again, turned and walked towards the temple. After that, Elsie took the rookie mage junior with her. Go and say hello to Lily, the senior magician. Miss Piggy, if your Highness summons you endlessly, please be sure to tell me. We magicians need to unite and help each other. Junior was also very cooperative. Lily would. Let's do it together. Your Highness has a time of need. Please feel free to call me to the front. I'm mentally prepared. AI sure hesitated for a moment. He hadn't told Lily yet. This time the defense will be fought by the Vampire King himself. Although it is still very far from Lily's retirement life. But one day the front here will stabilize. Lily will also only work in the office. Elsie suddenly began to look forward to it. That day can come as soon as possible. All right, let's do it too. Prepare for the evening expedition. There are still 3 weeks to go until the next defensive battle. They must retake the base camp as soon as possible. On the way back, AI and the two of them briefly explained their plans for tonight. When arriving at the mansion, Ash saw an unexpected person. Pete, aren't you not healed yet? You don't take a break anymore. What are you doing here? Jupiter stood there alone. It's like I've been waiting for a long time. Her face was pale. Outside, the hospital gown was still the old-fashioned military coat that had been washed and somewhat whitened. I heard that His Highness is going on a campaign tonight. Please take me with you. Please don't take my granddaughter Ace to look back at Junior. His expression was extraordinarily cold. Ace was suddenly a little curious about the story between the two. Please don't bring my granddaughter Junior. They were the guys who made me what I am now. So please give me a chance to take revenge. Jupiter's voice trembled. He staggered closer to Ash. Jupiter grabbed Ace's clothes with all his might. Please. His Highness can't let him go through war anymore. Jupiter's voice was something Elsie had never heard before. Desperate tone. Grandma is really too. Obviously, they can't stand on their feet. What else can I say about such a physical condition? I'm going to survey the dungeon. Grandma Junior, please quit now, okay? You don't know very well. I'm trying to keep you and you from breaking into this kind of place. How much effort has it taken? Until today. Even though my life is a mess. The reason why she is still insisting is that Juniel sighed softly. Then he grabbed Jupiter's hand tightly. Grandma, I have already signed a mercenary contract with Your Highness. Today is the day to take action. That moment, Eris saw Pete's pupils tremble. If Grandma is messing around here, Your Highness will be embarrassed. I'm going to be embarrassed too. You go back to the temple today to recuperate. In the future, we will be in Your Highness. If I'm okay, and words stronger than granddaughters, you'll take me straight to the dungeon. I couldn't help but frown. What do you want to say? Pick. I would like to request to play against my granddaughter. For a moment, AI was stunned. In AI's opinion, this is a competition without suspense. He couldn't understand why this gray-haired old man was so stubborn. Grandma, do you have to do this? I had to do it. I can't just let me. If your strength is weaker than mine, naturally, there is no need to receive a salary here. Mercenaries pay attention to strength. Only strength is the first benchmark. Junior sighed again. Then I'll give you a try. Junior pointed his cigarette stick at Jupiter. I finally had the opportunity to show what I learned behind my grandmother's back. Don't be too arrogant. Is it because your talent is extraordinary? I thought I could match the experience I had accumulated in my life. There was a thunderclap in the sky. A flash of yellow lightning shot out from Jupiter's hand. Meanwhile, a blue thunderbolt erupted from Jupiter's outstretched cigarette stick. My grandma is a lot older. Eth heard Junior mutter. The blue thunder instantly swallowed the thunder and lightning in Jupiter's hand. The ground was burned to pitch black. The duel was decided almost instantaneously. The elderly Pig Pete knelt on the ground. The trail left by the thunder was right next to his knee. Blood was dripping slowly. Isn't that why Junior can't do that? Can't you end it with revenge on me? Jupiter ignored the blood in his mouth and nose. Gasping for breath, he asked. Junior, who had been silent, spoke. His voice was unusually cold. Of course not. Grandma, you better go back to the temple and rest. I'll go back as soon as I go. Junior didn't look any further. Jupiter walked straight into the mansion. Love is incapable of intervening. Quarrels between Jupiter's family. You can only go over and pick up Jupiter after it's over. Are you okay? Your Highness, my granddaughter, please leave it to you. He's very talented, but experience is still scarce. Please don't ask him to do too much. Jupiter stumbled out of the mansion, started walking towards the city. The physical condition is obviously very bad, but he still insisted on preventing his granddaughter from fighting. What happened between the two? There is no way to know about the world. I didn't have time to listen to them, because the expedition must be carried out as scheduled. Although there was no small riot, but it was as Ash had originally envisioned. The three teams gathered to participate in the battle. They're the main teams, including Aishi. Led by the hand of God, the former ghost forced spy targets. The bullet didn't hit the magician who was working his magic. But that's enough. In the moment when he was distracted and used defensive magic, the winner of this magical battle has already been decided. Mr. Sniper, thank you for the auxiliary shots. Damien smiled and scratched his head. In response, after a fierce defensive battle between the two sides, both camps fell silent with great subtlety. Since the end of the last battle, obviously not much has passed. In such a short period of time, it was so well prepared. It really exceeded my expectations. How many times have players told you in the end? My name is AI Sure. Good Prince Aishi. When I was doing this at the bottom of this hell, I met a lot of outstanding and talented people like you. Every time that happens, I get very sad. Here's why. Because I'll think, if not the enemy, it's what happens when you encounter other relationships. Drink together. Ask them something about the outside world. Tell them stories from the past. It should be all achievable. If you say now that the head is small, it is no longer our enemy, then I'm willing to help you make it happen. Hearing this, the crown couldn't help but laugh. Aren't you a bard? I have the drinks. All you need to do is chant a song. The crown silently pulled out the flute on his waist. Unfortunately, that's not possible, because we also have our own position. I need to stop you guys from digging up this city. Dark players. AI Sure waved the baton in his hand. 3 magic swords then appeared behind him. What a shame. Then there is no way. Let's keep fighting. The final player just needs to get rid of your hell. You can fall into darkness forever. As he spoke, he slowly raised the flute to the left. That moment, numerous small red dots appear out of thin air on the map. Each dot represents the enemy that AI Sure needs to kill. Aishi raised the corners of his mouth and smiled slightly. I'm so sorry. I'm afraid it won't be as you wish, because I don't like this kind of dark hell. So prepare to transform it into a fire hell. Just when the crown was still wondering, nearly 100 stray arrows with flaming light appeared above their heads. Why are their attacks? Emerge from the rear. The crown quickly calmed down, stopped them, and unfurled their shields. But it was too late. Arrows with explosive properties fall into the crowd. The members of the Night Kin are wailing. The base camp turned into a veritable hell. And those who send out those attacks. It was the first shadow troops to enter the lake dungeon. The shadow forces have converged. Your Highness, please give the next order. The crown was puzzled. Did you break through the 3rd sector? Did you get here by land? Congratulations, you got it right. But I didn't perceive it at all. Something suspicious in the 3rd area. How could such a thing happen? Because the last time I just entered the base camp, I was ambushed. So, Ash guessed they might have some kind of method. Know where you move in the dungeon. But what the Shadow Force does best is to conduct covert operations. Badibo can also use magic to float his team members in the air. This was the 3rd purpose of the last dungeon. However, Ash naturally will not tell these things and discuss. I'm not a person who can explain everything to you one by one. So what to do now? You are already in a situation where you are surrounded by a total surroundment. Most of the members of the Night Kin have fallen. The rest were also incapable of continuing to resist. Your cheek should not be kind. Only now have I come to ask for the extent of my mercy. Do you have any last words? Please tell me. The crown slowly raised his hands. It's so good. Prince Aishi, you've managed to bring me to a dead end. Put it this way. You've accepted defeat. Accepted? But I'll tell you something. You can't kill me. Aishi stared coldly at the crown. Didn't he? I don't think so. Almost at the moment when Ash finished speaking, members of the Shadow Force shoot arrows and iron spears at the same time. Arrows and iron spears filled the crown's body. Blood kept spitting out of his mouth. The iron spear that pierced through the crown's body slowly rolled to Ace's feet. There was still blood stains of the crown on it. Ash walked slowly over to the crown. And now you still think I can't kill you? The crown smiled wryly and nodded. Yes. Please take a look around. Elsie, the Prince of Love, looked up at the Nightkin members around her. That moment, he couldn't believe his eyes. The bodies of the dead Nightkin members are gradually dissipating, finally melt into the darkness completely. That moment, Ash's eyes were completely occupied by horror. The rest of the team was also confused. The darkness of this lake kingdom is deeper than you think. The crown let out a self-deprecating laugh. Humans living in this country, even death is not allowed. Hear this. Ash was in a hurry. Death is not allowed. What exactly does that mean? It's literal. The ultimate player. This stupid country that once saw curses as a blessing. The end is to become the hell it is now. Aishi grabbed the crown by the collar. Damn it, make it clear for me. I'll admit it to you, though. Maybe you can really touch the deepest darkness of this hell. Don't give me any more nonsense. You give me a good explanation before you breathe. Crown, if we meet again next time, let's talk a little bit more then. The crown's body was dissipating. A smile appeared on the face underneath the mask. Then let's say goodbye in deeper darkness. The crown dissipated completely. Not even a drop of blood was shed. Things are starting to get out of Ash's control. Ehrlich couldn't help but wonder. What the hell is this dungeon hiding? And somewhere in the base camp. A figure bears witness to everything that happens here. This is the enemy they have managed to defeat with great difficulty. Actually dissipated into the darkness in front of them. This is a very frightening and disappointing result. This situation is likely to reduce the morale of the players. What the hell are you guys doing? Why did you come so late? Do you know how long the camp has been occupied by the bandits? You bastards should have come and chased them away sooner. Those damn guys put out all the fires in my blacksmith shop. You don't see my precious little metals. Do you all shiver from the cold? The old man is a resident NPC in the base camp. Kelly Bay, the blacksmith of the original old dwarf race. 50 years ago, in search of scarce ores. After entering the dungeon, I've been here ever since. He is an absolutely friendly NPC to the player, no matter what the player does. Reliable allies who will all be on the same side as them. You unvirtuous rice bucket stinky adventurers. Didn't you hear me? Hurry up and light up the camp. Are you the children of darkness? Does the Lord need me to deal with this rude old man? Although his mouth is a little dirty. But I made this camp according to the old man's words first. We will continue to be our base. Light up this place according to his words first. Then restore the place destroyed by the enemy to its original state. It turns out that there is a promising rice bucket among you. What is your name? Mr. Craftsman. My name is AI Sure. If you don't feel rude, I would like to ask for the first name of the gentleman. Although I have only spoken about me before to trusted comrades in arms. But you guy looks very promising. I can make an exception to tell you. My name is Kelly Bay, the world's strongest weaponsmith. Although generally claiming to be the strongest in the world will make people feel arrogant. But this old man does have that qualification, because only he can craft a special weapon for SSR level characters. A special kind of magic weapon. He is the only one who can create a strategy scene. If you don't have the equipment you need, you have to rely on it. At a time when Jalen and Lucas were still secretly competing, Ace was trying his best to curry favor with Kelly Bay. You are so flattering to me. I guess there was some intention. You're right. I need a novel weapon. At the moment when Ace suddenly said that he needed the highest rank equipment, Kelly Bay was frightened. That's a bit of a hassle to make. How much do you need? 15 handfuls. There's also a need for more. Are you crazy? You asked me to help you craft 15-star silver weapons. Can't you do that? It looks like you're the strongest in the world. What the words of a legendary figure. Actually, it's all bragging. The Star Spirit weapon is a top-notch exorcism item, even if it's an all-out cast. It takes a lot of effort. I don't know what you're going to do with it, though. But the Vampire King, the inanimate king of Serendian, is about to descend. I asked for those weapons to deal with that guy. Kelly Bay's words were choked. His pupils couldn't help but tremble. Although vampires are generally dealt with silver weapons. But if for the highest level vampire individuals, silver weapons will not be as effective as they should be. Hence the birth. A novel weapon designed to deal with those of the highest rank. It is possible to ignore the armor. An item that deals real damage to vampires. And new weapons can only be minted here. This was supposed to be in the middle and late stages of the game. We'll start crafting weapons. But the Vampire King is going to appear in Ace in Scene 5. Kelly Bay sighed deeply. Then he looked at the fire that had just been lit. Bub, do you know? When I first arrived in this dungeon, I came with my 2 brothers. We continue to discover rare minerals here that are unheard of outside. That's why I'm excited. So in order to find rarer minerals, we ventured into the depths of the dungeon. Then we met the damn bunch. Who are those guys? It is the highest level of vampire individuals. And it's the Vampire King of Serendian. Kelly Bay sighed deeply. Then he began to slide the match in his hand. We were wrong not to covet the minerals in the depths of the dungeon. We meet those guys in the depths of the dungeon. When they find out that they are no match at all, it's too late. In the end, the brothers sacrifice themselves in exchange for my chance to escape. After that, I've never been to the depths of the dungeon again. Kelly Bay's voice trembled. He took a puff of his pipe. Try to calm yourself down. You know why the brothers sacrificed themselves. Choose to save me. Days later, the blacksmith sent samples of silver weapons. How about letting 2 of his knights try out these weapons? The sense of balance is good. I feel pretty good. Then I'll let them make it according to the standard. You can treat it as a consumable. It's okay to hit hard, but they look expensive. Does that really matter? That being said, but in general, Jalen is not ambiguous at all. Ace and Lucas clapped on the sidelines when they saw this. You've really said it all. There is no need to respond to everything. Ace, the reason why they are like this. It's because the appearance of a class of Jalen who is praised as cute. Although not a cavalry gun, but you're still good at it. That's nature. After all, the basic principle is the same. I'm in all the weapons aptitude tests at the academy. The one who got the Tiga. It is estimated that even the long sword can be as good as the one used by that uncle. Do you mean the same as me? Do you want me to prove it to you? Let's find time to practice later. Now let's go get the gear first. Isn't that right? It's time for us to head to the next area of the dungeon. This time it's a free survey. Ash decided to bring only members of the main team, because they are the main force against the Serendian. This is done to speed up the leveling up by accumulating experience points. It would be nice if you could learn the ultimate. However, the ultimate was developed during the 3rd class change at level 50. And now the 2 highest ranking members of the team. It's still a long way off, so it's worth looking forward to. Open the next skill to the person. Instead, after Ace and Damien reached level 35, they will be able to make a second transfer and learn the second skill. My children, are you here to play again? How do you feel like you're thinner than the last time we met? Grandma has to give you something to eat. No, it really doesn't matter. We just came over after dinner. Speech. Speaking of Kelly Bay, did you say that dwarf old man? It seems that I went to the area in front of the dungeon to find some materials. In the game, Kelly Bay is a full-time NPC who has been here all along. But in reality, it doesn't seem to be like that. However, Kelly Bay is of a higher rank than Ash and his party are now. And the strength is also stronger, so there should be no danger. Coco, Grandma, I have other things. Please, what's the matter? Would you like to eat some gummies? No. Ash stood next to something that looked like a manhole cover. Please help me break this seal. Can you do it? The passage below is the infamous path of the Overlord. You are likely to be traumatized when you pass through. Never mind. It's not going to happen. If you don't dominate the last fierce battle, you can't return. This trip will become a no-go return. Does it really matter? Because I'm going to win. Kelly Bay said. The newcomers this time are very good. He was right. Then go ahead. Saying that, Coco injected magic into the manhole cover. I will wait for your triumphant return. This path is known in the game as the Overlord's Path, although it sounds domineering. But it's actually a secret passage. This is the 4th area that can be skipped. Directly from the underground, 3 areas. The base camp arrives in the hidden passages of Area 5. Because starting with the next area, the monsters are of a higher level and difficulty. So even if you go directly to Aishi, you don't know how to clear the customs. But whether it's from the dungeon device or the monster fort, the 5th area is the easiest place to clear the level. Before coming here, AI Sure has also explained the situation to the team members in general, so you shouldn't worry too much. After entering the passage of the Overlord's Path, all skills will be sealed. If you do not pass the corresponding lot, this road will be destroyed forever. A distinctive bug-gnawing sound in the dark. It's a little hairy. Are you all ready? Let's go down now. It was clear that people didn't want to go. Even Lucas was the same, but it's a physiological problem, after all. So there are excusable circumstances. Elsie threw the unquenchable torch into the darkness. The blue firelight illuminated the darkness. There is a ladder in the passage that leads to the bottom. It didn't take long, and the torches fell to the ground. What do you think? It's not too deep, actually. Let me, His Royal Highness, take the lead. The prince asked me not to do it first. AI Sure had already entered the passage first. An idea popped into Ace's mind. if there is some kind of will in the darkness. So what exactly is he doing? The sound of insects gnawing kept ringing in Ace's ears. He even felt the darkness gnawing at his ears. As Ash walked slowly down, the roar of darkness also turned into intermittent words. Ash always felt something in the dark staring at him. But when he looked back, only to find nothing. This is the fear that comes from the deepest part of the heart. Aishi was so frightened that he couldn't move a single step. But he had to overcome. If this is the only way to clear the customs, then whether it's dark or lava, he had to jump without hesitation. I don't know how long it has been in the dark. Ash's feet finally touched the ground. At the moment when Ash landed, the sound of darkness also disappeared without a trace. Ace picked up the blue torch on the ground and held it up. This is the road of the hegemon. All players who are looking for speed running to protect the Empire. All of them conquered the 5th region through this route, just when it's in the way of thinking. Lucas also climbed down the ladder. Lucas, are you okay? Can the Lord take a break before leaving? Lucas's face turned pale. It doesn't look good. Of course. Let's wait here for all the members to come down. Ace didn't ask Lucas. See what you hear. After all, Ash's passivity. The indomitable commander will also be sealed here. He just wants everyone to overcome this test. The third to come down was Damien. He even fell straight off the ladder. I was wrong. Please, don't hit me anymore. Sorry for the spots. I'm sorry. I was the only one who survived. Eris hurriedly went over to help Damien up. Damien, you sober up? I'm right there with you. It's over. His Royal Highness Prince Damien. Can you please hold my hand? And Lucas Ching. Please. Followed by. Junior also came down, but he looked particularly relaxed. A curse that turned out to be working in this way. Isn't it interesting? Interesting, because it's the old way 500 years ago, so it's a bit old-fashioned. But it's funny. But, Junior, your legs seem to be shaking. I thought it was an earthquake. That's because magicians aren't good at manual work. It's not that I'm afraid. I know. Do you want to come along? The last one to come down was a class of Jalen. His athletic posture, exactly like the leader of Crossroads. I was in a cold sweat. Here's what's going on. Am I afraid? When Jalen came back to his senses, I found the 4 people sitting together. I'm going to join in too. As he spoke, Jalen threw aside his shield and gun. After some time, Damien was the first to speak. I seem to be fine now. Damien, you don't have to pretend to be strong. Just stay like that for a while. Fear of a curse is not a shameful thing. The Lord was right. Damien, we will accompany you to overcome your inner fears. That's it. They used Damien as an excuse to dispel each other's fears. Although I don't know what terrible things everyone has experienced, and how deep the damage is. But everybody loves the world here. I hope it's like hunting monsters together. Everyone can also erase all the memories of each other's pain. After an hour's rest at the entrance, they began to move along the wall. Because it's a long way from the 5th zone, so he had plenty of time to explain it to the players. Tactics this time. I don't know how many hours I walked through this long passage. The group finally reached the end of the hallway, and the one that appeared in front of them. Another ladder with no end in sight. There shouldn't be a curse like the one just now. Ash relaxed. Make a relaxed gesture. All right, let's get ready to go up. It didn't take long. Several people had already climbed to the end of the ladder. But Ash was a little puzzled. Why did Lucas, who was the first to come up, look so serious? Lucas looked around. Looked at Ash with nervous eyes. Sovereign, it seems to be the enemy camp here. How is this possible? With that, Ash pulled up the group of Jalen behind him to celebrate. This is the first time it has been a long time since the challenger arrived. The moment the sound appeared, dazzling light poured in from all directions. The place where several people are located. It's the 5th zone, the Colosseum with sparks. Senior, you didn't say that. We're out of the Colosseum? That's because I don't know. Although in the game there is also a battle that will take place immediately But Elsie really couldn't figure it out. Why, there is a concept in the middle of the Colosseum. Several brilliant fireworks burst over the Colosseum. I don't even remember. When was the last time we greeted a guest? But it wasn't in vain, so I stuck to business. I've been waiting for this heart. Aishi stared angrily at the man in the stands. He is the boss of the 5th region, the gladiator King Gacker. Everybody has been waiting for a long time. You've been eager to fight for a long time. Let's omit those unnecessary procedures. Are you ready? Celebrate the reopening of the Colosseum in Gacker. Today's first match. It's an expedition of waste that came out of nowhere. What the hell is this presumptuous guy talking about? Senior, I'm going to screw his dog's head off. Their opponents are talking nonstop. I've really been waiting for today to arrive. It seems that he is already hungry to the point of coma. This sentence. The Colosseum's adorable foodie chimera. Who will survive in the end? Eat each other. Let's wait and see. The system window has been updated with match information. The odds of winning are 1.01 to 100. At the moment of seeing this number, AI sure couldn't help but be taken aback, because he has never seen such exaggerated odds in the game. AI sure explained it on the way here. There is one that can only be found in the Colosseum, a special system called stakes. In the audience sat 100 goblins. Each goblin has one vote in each hand. They will vote for the side they think will win. The results of the votes are then used to determine the percentage of victory distribution. A 99 to 1 victory distribution is 1.0. A pair of 100, because the result of 100 to 0 is not entered into the system. So that's actually the maximum. The goblins thought they had no chance of winning. Such blatant disregard for us. It's a little unpleasant. These damn guys. I'll teach you a lesson later. The Chimera was already rushing straight at a few people at the moment. But Ace is still very calm. Damien, borrow your Black Queen. Another rule of the Colosseum. It's a duel. The first blow from both sides. Attack is increased according to the respective distribution ratio. Other words, the Chimera's first attack was almost the same as usual. However, Ace's team's first attack will be 100 times more powerful than usual. That's what Elsie had in mind. A little trick to dominate the Colosseum. Look, everybody. Now the Waste team is dealing with Ms. Chimera, who is targeting food. Pulled out something that resembled a toothpick. But that's what to do. Ms. Chimera's body hardens better than the frost giant. The skin should also be firm. If it's with that kind of toothpick, even if you get a 100x stake multiplier, it is impossible to hurt Miss Chimera. Ace slowly pulled the trigger on the Chimera, who pounced. The bullets from the magic spear did not penetrate his body. Instead, the Chimera was directly blasted to pieces. Gacker, who was busy commenting on the duel, finally quieted down. When Ace was playing a game, I can't stand his broken thoughts. It's a great feeling. Ash swallowed the experience points of the high-level boss monster alone. Mr. Gaykar. I'm curious about what the second match will be. The system prompts again. The opponent in the second game is the Frost Giant General. The victory distribution rate has also been reduced to 1 point. 1 to 10. The second match began. I personally invited it from the 7 underground regions of the Devil Donheim. Leader of the Frost Giants. Frost Giant General Chelum. Let's wait and see. What kind of anger will Chelum show today? But Gacker's commentary wasn't finished. Chelum was shattered in the head by the magic spear. He didn't show anything at all. The prediction for a victory in this one is 90 to 10. Therefore, the power of the magic gun has been slightly reduced. Familiar system prompts sound. This time, the opponent is the daughter of the Black Dragon. The victory distribution rate has also been reduced to 1.2. 5 to 5. Now it's the third match. It's coming soon. The biological daughter of the Black Dragon, who almost wiped out the world. She has 4 pairs of wings, 12 legs. Originally, it had 5 tails, although one was cut off. But even so, he's also very powerful. He was Kalishan, the daughter of the Black Dragon. Will he be able to surpass his father? Let's wait and see. Don't say it's a father who surpasses himself. Collision didn't even manage to dodge a magic bullet ace. They soon had their fourth matchup. Their opponent is the Goblin God. The victory distribution ratio has been reduced to 1.43 to 3.33. The fourth showdown began. I wasn't going to send this friend on the field. He's the god of war for our goblin cuties. He is the ruthless god of killing, Carlia howled. He will use the 8 weapons in his hand to slash his enemies in an instant. Carrie wanted to use all his weapons to block the magic bullet shot by Ace. But those weapons were all melted. The magic bullet passed directly through his body. The goblins in the stands burst into tears. There were even quite a few goblins fainting. In the fifth matchup, the victory distribution ratio has dropped to 1.66 to 2.5. The bloodline has finally appeared. Now it's the fifth matchup, because there is really no opponent left. So I just went around and caught a few fresh seasonal monsters. Ready for battle? Let's have the monster bloodline of the season. They are even the most murderous of the bloodline. Fallen Blood. Fallen Blood stops in the game. Those down-and-out vampires. Vampires who haven't sucked human blood for a long time will slowly degenerate. Loss of language and sanity. Eventually, it becomes a species similar to a beast. Fallen Blood. Ace didn't hesitate. Immediately aimed at one of them and pulled the trigger. But Ace's marksmanship was not as good as that of Damien. The bullet flew past the head of the Fallen Blood. But what AI sure didn't expect was, the bullet still exploded next to the Fallen Blood. That's the power of the 2.5x multiplier. That's all for the cleverness. The guy who was left was used as a victim of our combat training. How to be in the bloodlines that have been fought so far. The highest level is a group of ghouls, and a monster of a higher rank than him. Fallen Blood would be a great helper for learning. Lord, we have been waiting for your order. The seniors just had a lot of fun. Now it's our turn. The Fallen Blood level is level 49. Far exceeds the average of key team members. But the enemy they are about to face is the Inanimate King. His strength is far from being comparable to these guys. However, the battle disappointed Ash a bit, because victory came so easily. It simply does not achieve the purpose of training. It shouldn't be like this. He should be strong. Is it because he is the blood of the fallen? The action is too simple. Maybe it's because they only have a thirst for blood, an instinctive pre-vampire. No matter how fast it is, no matter how strong it is, the route and the actions are obvious. AI sure looked up at the center of the stands. Isn't there anyone stronger than them? You hateful creatures dare to underestimate me. Looks like it's time to send out the freshest of the season's monsters caught this time. The most energetic guys. The system beep sounds again. This time the enemy is a level 50 vampire. AI couldn't help but be a little excited. He's finally going to take on real vampires. Now it's the sixth showdown. We have never seen such a vampire to date. They call themselves nobles. But in my opinion, it's just a bunch of water quality. I've been bored with introductions. Get out and fight yourself. Then go die. The next opponent is the vampire Bernardo, who has fallen behind. Damn, Gacker. Do you think you'll be safe like this? The reason why you can play in this arena. It's all because the Legion commanders have acquiesced in your presence. But I'm a great vampire. He is a member of the family of King Celendian. You're Cerendian's men. Now I know it's too late. How dare you make me a gladiator? Lord Celendian will definitely judge you. Bernardo was about to say something, but he suddenly lost both of his arms. Shut your rusty, foul mouth. You filthy water quality. You think you're Cerendian's henchman. Am I going to be scared? Now that you've been caught here by me, then you guys just a consumable in the Colosseum. It doesn't matter whose subordinate you are. For whom? I don't care. If you dare to be arrogant next time, I'll just cut off your head. If you understand, get out of the way and fight. If you don't want me to stuff your mouth with mashed garlic, just do it. Do you understand? Bernardo knows he's no match for Gatter. He could only attach his own arm. Take your anger out on AI Sure and her party. I don't want you to stuff your mouth with mashed garlic. Just get out of here and fight. Bernardo trembled with anger. But he knows he's no match for Gacker. Blood flowed between the arms and bodies on the ground. The arm spontaneously flew into the air. It was finally attached to Bernardo's body. I don't know where you guys come from. I haven't been able to confirm your ancestry. Now I don't even have an appetite. But I must get rid of you. If you don't resist, I'll make your death a little more painful. That's so much appreciated. I also said it in advance. We'll get rid of you. It's the first time we've fought a vampire, so it's natural to accumulate some experience. Bernardo didn't understand Ash's words. After all, in the eyes of vampires, humans are nothing more than a herd of animals that have not been kept in captivity. Little ones, before you guys deal with that guy, let's make a prototype after a long absence. Your Highness, what are you doing here? I don't like corporal punishment. However, Juniel did not escape the baton in Ace's hands. But the ensuing buff was a little confusing for Junior. He could clearly feel that his strength had become stronger. When Junior looked up, only to find that there were 3 main team members left, he was looking at himself with a smile on his face. You can only do this once a day, so don't always think about being beaten by me. Although this is to avoid the players from relying on Zheng Yi. But more importantly, Elsie felt that this behavior was a bit perverted. Are you guys crazy? Ignoring the vampire in front of him, he was laughing to himself. Looks like you're trying to die a painful death. Although I don't know if your blood is pure. But I'll have to suck your blood dry. This is the first time we've dealt with a vampire. Everyone was nervous. Vampires are broadly divided into 2 ways of fighting. The first is blood magic. That is, in their own blood, and the ability to use blood ingested from others as a basis. The second is the body. They possess a powerful regenerative power beyond common sense, and clearly stronger than the human body. Most vampires will be new to both abilities. First, as long as one has reached a certain realm, it will become a monster that can unleash its devastating power. It's a pity, though, Bernardo, whether it's blood, magic, or physical exercise, it seems that they are all negligent in cultivation. The entire Colosseum was covered in his blood. In this way, it seems that Ace and they have the upper hand easily. But this is not the case. Vampires of this species, it has an innate and strong ability to regenerate. So AI sure must think of a companion who can completely kill the vampire. Damien, you still can't see his soul. Yes, His Royal Highness. The vampires seem to be made of blood all over his body. There is no fixed zero-sum. It's just that the process of assembling and crushing is repeated all the time. This is the dilemma that Aishi is facing at this stage. Fight vampires in the game. Generally, after the middle term, players usually start with a variety of fillings, artifacts that reduce their healing power, then use a new weapon to break them into pieces. But it's the early days of the game. Mugwort is an artifact of their ability to heal without diminishing. The astral spirit weapon hasn't been crafted yet, so Aishi had to think about it. One can rely on the various materials available at this stage to take out the vampires on a large scale. It was at this time, Ace noticed that Bernardo in front of him had been staring at him. Let me partake of your blood. All right. With that, Bernardo rushed towards Ash in front of him. In the main team, Ace's rank is the lowest, so naturally, he became the first target of the enemy. Bernardo's mouth gaped closer and closer to Eshi. Sharp fangs gleamed with menace. But so much fanfare. I'm going to suck blood now. Naturally, the players who got in the way would not let him succeed. Dare to attack a weak senior. Damn the guys. I will never let you touch a single hair of the Lord. Lucas's silver sword was stuck in Bernardo's abdomen. A class of Jalen's silver fur was stuck in his back. When Ace saw this scene, a thought crossed his mind. Do not retract the weapon. Get away from that guy immediately. At the moment when Ace ordered, the 2 of them carried it out immediately. He even made his men retreat. I just went through that kind of thing. Still don't get it? You shouldn't think it's an attack of this magnitude. You'll be able to inflict fatal wounds on vampires. How so? You're a vampire. Juniel let out a thunderclap. Junior burst out laughing. I see what you mean. The next second, blue lightning slashes down silver weapons. Works with lightning magic. Corroded Bernado's body from the inside. There was a gleam in Damien's eyes. Now I can see the crossbow coming out of Damien's hand. Pierce Bernado's heart with precision. A small red bead is also attached to the tip of the arrow. Love was their first successful vampire hunt. Although the strength of this vampire is weak. But Ace seems to have some clues. Attack with a combination of silver weapons and magic. After letting the spirit river appear. Then Damien will snipe. This is the basic tactic that Elsie has put together against vampires. Although it is not realistic to want to use it in large quantities on the battlefield. But just keep moving forward like this. What a good group of challengers. You have proven your qualifications. With that, Gacker jumped down from the stands. Congratulations. You have earned the right place to fight Gacker, the Gladiator King. The level of the Gladiator King Gacker is as high as level 75. It's the strongest enemy they've ever encountered. This was the last battle in the 5th region. The victory distribution rate is also the same as in the game. Cancelled. Yet, Ash didn't understand why the victory distribution rate was gone. He didn't know until this moment. It turned out that all the goblins in the audience were dead. This showdown must be completely mine. So I got rid of all the useless audiences. It's been a long time since I've stepped onto this familiar stage. Let me see your fighting spirit. Let me feel how powerful you are. The obstruction is clear. Now fighting with Gacker is certain to death. But even if you know these AIs, sure, you still have to come here. It's because he has a guy who can make Gacker. Ways to lose force value. Gacker Eberborough has not forgotten you. Gacker's pupil shrank suddenly. He finally stopped in front of Ace. What did you just say? I said that Eberborough has not forgotten you. Gacker's real identity is decades ago. Special dignitaries sent by the Eberborough Empire. It was on the way to survey the dungeon. Encountered the kidnapping of the Colosseum. The misfortune of spending a long time here alone. The character in the game only needs to give him the relics of the Prince of the World. It can make Gacker mistakenly think that Lucas is royalty. So it doesn't hurt them. Gatter trembled all over. You say that the Eberbs have not forgotten. I dare to ask the noble person's name. My name is Aishi. Help hurt Eberborough, the 3rd prince of the Eberborough Empire. When I saw the black jade card in Aishi's hand, Gacker threw away his dagger. I thought I had been wasting my time. Has been forgotten. I think the Empire has forgotten about me. So I tried to forget the Empire. Gacker, even if you forget the name of Eberborough, the Empire has never forgotten you. Even if one day the Empire really forgets. But I will promise you, the 3 princes of the Empire will always remember your contribution to the Empire. Thank you. Thank you really. It turns out that the time I spent here was not wasted. Seeing the sad and joyful Gacker, he felt a little guilty. But so what? It would be nice to memorize Gacker seriously from now on.